project is being ran, and today I'm actually legitimately excited. Not because of the game, which, by the way, is the featured game on one of the banners up top. Kudos. I love the fact that that changes from time to time, so they're trying to put some more spotlight on that. But more just because I'm always interested to see how smaller companies do on GameFound, because in my mind, it still just is, if you were a smaller publisher or a first-time publisher, just go to Kickstarter, because there's just the amount of exposure you're going to get is just so much more worth it than the risk it would be on GameFound, because maybe you'll have some better numbers around the margins or stable pledge or this X, Y, or Z. Now, that being said, we're checking out Muster, Raise the Banners. I wanted to check it out for no other reason than the fact that I just wanted to pick something, and I thought it was unique that they were leaning into the no China tariffs made in Europe angle, because that's a selling point. You know, I see car companies doing that, like, oh, we're made in the United States, there's no tariff. Like, so I was curious to see how this game is going to do. They had 1.2 thousand people signed up originally to be fans of this project, and now it's sitting at 158 backers. So that means that this one is not captivating quite how they'd hoped, you would think. But honestly, I look at some of the other projects and like 1.6 thousand, 232, but this one's 1.9, 2.8, 93, 2.3 thousand. Holy Jesus, what's going on there? Anywho, Muster, Raise the Banners. Looking at the main image, I see art and I see cards. Step to the enchanting realms of Muster, where players complete to raise the banners and seize control of 5 majestic castles. Strategic planning and bold tactics will determine who emerges victorious to this fast-paced 2-player duel. So immediately, I'm gonna get on my soapbox and I'm gonna say how much I hate the squares as opposed to the rectangles, even though now they look like they're a little bit taller, so they're going rectangles the other way. But just this feels like the kind of thing where I would love to know that this is a 2-player, 20-minute, ages plus, 8 plus, because it's a family weight game. And you can kind of infer some of that from here, but not necessarily. And I would love it if you slapped me in the face a little bit with that instead of just showcasing some cards. Because I feel like that's its own separate lane. Because I also imagine you're going to have a really good price point, right? Because it's a small box card game. And I'd love to see it. If it's like, oh, $24, ages 8 plus, 2 players, 20 minutes. I'm interested now for my son or for daughter or whatever. I just feel like we could tell a little bit more on that main image. But at the end of the day, I do love the fact that they leaned into the Made in Europe thing. They committed to something. So this is the Game Fan trailer. They got one. Let's check it out. As always with the video, I'm thinking 3 things. Do I want it? Can you do it? How much is it? That's what you need to convince Kickstarter backers to get their money. And this is why I love the rectangle so much more. I still think that, you know, like I would want this to be bigger. But this, like, just look at this. That looks so much. And I still think, oh, and then we got the little board in the middle. It's actually giving me vibes of what's that, Schadentoden, or maybe like what's that Reiner Knizia, Lost Cities. I'm getting those vibes now from that board there, which are vibes that I like, which I didn't get from the other main image. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm more excited about this game now just because I know more, because you got more real estate to showcase more.
Step into the enchanting realms of Muster, where players compete to raise
the art style. Definitely. Once again, I'm not the biggest fan of just focusing completely on your artwork, but if you're trying to sell me a game to my 8-year-old and you zoom in on this, then I'm like, okay, yeah, my kids like that artwork. That sells. That looks great. And we're kind of zoomed out once again on the main image. So I love the fact that we're focusing on this early and often, like, hey, take a look at this absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. Looks like it should be an animated TV show artwork.
Banners and seize control of 5 majestic castles. Assemble a fearsome force drawn from 5 unique factions, represented by loyal soldiers, agile archers, valiant knights, fierce beasts, and legendary leaders. Unleash the magic.
I'm hoping that there is the standard version where they're asymmetrical only in appearance pretty much, but then there's also the more gamery version. Maybe that comes with the expansion where they bump up that asymmetry a bit. But either way, it's looking good. It's looking good. The artwork, graphic design, it really pops. Really popping here.
Magical power of rainbow cards to tip the scales. But beware, rainbow wizards are fickle friends whose loyalties can falter when you need them most. When the dust has settled, the player controlling the most castles claims victory to reign supreme. Muster, Raise the Banners. Launching on GameFound.
That was a really well-made video. I was not expecting a video of that high quality, honestly. Just from a first time designer, which I think what they are. This feels like it's a smaller project, but that was a great video. I would have loved it had a bit more. Like, hopefully we get to the price relatively early, which we will because it's featured. But $5,291. This has happened. It is going to be a thing. I'm excited. Have they made anything else? That's my question. I don't think so. Yeah, so it looks like this is their first game. Must to raise the banner. We make family-friendly indie board games for primates, big and small. Founded and run by passionate game designer Spencer Lloyd Thomas, who lives in London, GB, with his wife and two. I don't know what GB is. If anybody in the chat knows that, let me know. And two young children. I'll take a guess. The only thing that's my mind is dirty. Not taking a guess. Spencer has 20 years of experience in international business, is an alumni of the University of Auckland, and holds accreditation from the Chartered Institute. That's fancy stuff. He does fancy stuff. He makes games now. This is just going to be his little side hustle, and he's hoping to become yet another of the many designers or publishers in there. Because, like, honestly, I've done interviews with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of publishers at conventions, and most of them are, I don't want to say most, but I would say over 50% a lot of the time just feel like someone, most of the time, a middle-aged white dude, I'm just saying this, who is very successful at another line of work, who has extra disposable income, and they will either think that A, they're going to be able to spin their expertise from the other thing into board games and crush it, and those ones generally don't. Most of them flame out. Some of them absolutely do succeed massively, but most of them don't. Or the ones that are just there for funsies and passion, and they eventually they stick around because they're not there to make money sometimes. And I know quite a few of those. Those are some of my favorite people to talk to, because they're just like, yeah, like, it wasn't a great weekend, but we had a lot of exposure. We play tested a lot of things, passed a lot of business cards, and, you know, I'm a dentist, so who the hell cares? It's like, oh, yeah, whatever. This is just a side hustle. Awesome. 2 players, ages 8 plus, 20 minutes, $20. That's what I'm saying right there. Now, 27, that seems fine for the size box you got. I want to know those cards. I imagine once I know the cards, I'm going to feel a little miffed. But at the end of the day, this doesn't. Ooh, that's a nice looking printed insert as well. This looks good. The rule book looks good. 27 feels fine. Take backsies. You're like, it looks good. It looks professional. It looks very good. Muster is this fantastic, fast-paced game that's enormous fun to play. We highly recommend it. Superfluous fluff, superfluous fluff, superfluous fluff. Thank you. Enter the realm of Muster. And once again, I don't put that on Board Game Galleria. I put them on them for deciding to focus on nothing except for the pace of the game and the fact that it's fun. I could assume the pace of the game is probably going to be fast if it's a 20-minute game. What makes it fun? The strategic decisions, the wizard, like, what is it that makes the game fun? I feel like that's what you want to spotlight there on the quote. Unless they're saying, oh, game of the year 2025, one of my candidates. A wonderfully simple yet surprisingly strategic explosion of rainbow color and richly immersive artwork. This head-to-head battle for domination is quick to play, satisfying to win, and leave you asking, one more game? Better than the last one? I'd still like to know more. I think the wonderfully simple yet simply strategic is the big thing that, yeah, that's, I want to know how much strategy there really is, because I hear the wizards and it's like, what else is there? That's what I think I wanted to quote. I want someone to like just like chop off just a tiny little bit of meat here. Like, what are some of these interesting strategic decisions that my 9-year-old is going to have to make that for me are just like, well, duh, I'm going to make that decision. But for a 9-year-old, it's like, oh yeah, that's because that's one of the fun things about playing games with kids is like you forget just how often, like, you play games a lot, and so things are just like common knowledge. Like, oh yeah, I should obviously trash in this deck building game. That's just duh. But to a kid, it's like, should I trash? I don't know. I could also instead just draw 6 cards. Easy enough to appeal to younger players, but has a good level of strategy behind the surface to keep seasoned gamers entertained too. That's what I was wondering. If I were reviewing this and that's how I felt, I'd use the term chameleon game. I hope it catches on, but it's a game that could fit into any different setting. You'll be drawn in by the art initially, but you'll stay for the replayability. Unleash Rainbow Magic. The Wizard was the only thing that felt special to me. I hope there's at least an add-on deck or something. I want a little more meat here as a gamer. I've often said the biggest games are the ones with few rules and many tactical options. Muster, therefore, ranks extremely highly in my opinion. Superb strategic card battler, highly recommended. I feel like there's a caveat they get. I don't know. All these quotes feel like they're saying the same thing. We found the artwork for the various color-themed armies excellent, production high, blah, 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 blah. UK Games Expo 2025 pickup. I thought they won an award there. Either way, that's awesome. I'd honestly put that higher. Like that's one of those things that I would put on the main image. I go back to that main image and how GameFound just has these such blah main images. Like here's a box, here's some art. Like this is one where it's like, oh, it catches my eye. It makes you look more professional. And if I'm going to the UK Games Expo, I'm like, oh, cool. I could already have a game ready to pick up for my kid potentially. Like I know as someone who tries to get souvenirs every time I go to conventions, be like, oh, I could already have it ready, like the game I'm gonna get. Yeah, that's really cool. Love that. Love that. Third of the point grade bump up. I just love to see it spotlighted even more. Alternative artist promo cards, whatevs. I mean, it's good because then those artists are going to send people to your project, but gameplay wise, whatevs. But for kids, they do love that. Vinyl sticker packs. Normally, this ick gagged me with a spoon, but your artwork is so popping that I get it. Hopefully there's that pledge where I can get all this stuff, even though I don't really want it that much, but I'm sure some people do. Character prints, hang them on your wall. This feels very cart in front of the horse. Each. What's A6 size? Thanks for not letting me know A6 size. Should I get one of these for my kid as a poster? I don't know. What's A6? Like, you could easily tell me A6 size, and yet you choose not to. Like, and here's the thing. I worked for a Chinese manufacturer for a year, so I actually had to have a grasp of this basic concepts of all the different sizes of paper, because token sheets might be printed on A1s versus cardboard pop-outs to be on A4s. But this is not like I don't feel like most people are just like, okay, that's a 4x5 inch, and maybe they just don't want to let you know it's 4x5 inch because that's that's like, okay. I feel like you want bigger. I don't know. This just doesn't feel like something most people are going to want unless you love the artist. Let's check out the pledge levels. So we have the game, 2732, 144, 2 copies, 5 copies. Wow, yeah, okay. 5 people took that one. Interesting. Always I wish, like, okay. That's a head scratcher a little bit there. Whatevs. So it is funded. What else we got? More quotes. Hopefully not all the same. After quick learning game, the game really plays quickly, and I can see the whole family competing against one another. This really is a fun Wii game. Okay. It feels like just the other ones. Game designer. Is a brainchild of London-based game designer and father of 2. Okay. People who did the stuff. Things. Team. Polish. I see the polish. So 1 copy, 2 copy, 3 copies. I thought it was 5 copies. Weird. Wasn't it? I'm just double checking, yeah. Oh, it's 3. It's not 5. So 5 people want 3 copies. Okay. Whatever. It's a nitpick. No, it's not a nitpick. It's just weird. So 13 euros. So at this point now, I'm looking at this being like a $60 game. How many cards is this? Did you tell me, Bueller? I don't think you did. I think you danced around that one. Base game includes all components shown. So it's all 3, 6, 9, 11, 12, 13, 15, 18, 20, 22. That can't be right. There's not 22 cards in this game. No, there's more cards over there. Yeah, that feels like the kind of information I'd love to know, right? And I hate to be that guy, because I know that guy gets blasted, the components to price guy. But at a certain point, you have to be like, you got to look at it, right? Like, it's like, okay. Is it worth $60? And it's a really hard to sell in the United States of America. Now, if you're somewhere else, like if you just happen to go into the UK Games Expo, then heck yeah, $27.32, great. For everybody else, you're around 40, that's fine. And I know it's not their fault, but it is what it is. And it sucks. Like, it sucks. Like, I'm not even going to dig them that hard because they're going to do like what, 500,000 print run or something this most likely, unless they're really like betting on themselves. They go 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, whatever it may be. And these rules look really well done and polished. Let me see the back of that rule booklet. Tell me you didn't art it. Tell me you didn't art it and you went gamer and you put some useful information. Yes, optional rules various. That's fine. Great, good stuff. Yeah, everything about this looks good. That shipping, that just sucks. Hopefully this game will get picked up maybe, or brought more to the America, more readily available at a cheaper price than the second edition or something. Because yeah, I think that's going to sink it for a lot of people, especially with you not mentioning how many cards it is. And that when you don't mention how many cards it is, I'm like, I bet it's like 52 or something. It's going to be like, I don't know. It just feels like one of those things you need to have. I wonder if anybody mentioned it. So yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the whole shebang. Cool. if this were in different times and that shipping were, I mean, that shipping does, yeah. Hello, how can I see if I'm within the 40 hours for the 2 promo cards? What? There's 2 promo cards? That's a big deal, especially when I don't know how many cards are in the game. I really want those promo cards. So that was today. That's fine. Respond to that when they get there, and they probably will today. Oh, they were here at 8:05. They'll get to it later. Apart from the 2 promo cards, is there anything different, special about the Kickstarter compared to retail? Well, the first thing is, like, this one just doesn't feel like one that's up against the retail gun here, right? Like, I'm not like, oh yeah, this thing's gonna be at Walmart, Kmart. Like, well, Kmart, Jesus, Walmart, Target, Meijer. Now, if it could, it absolutely could with that artwork. Like, if that artwork ended up on a store shelf, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. But at first glance, I don't just immediately assume that. So, like, I don't know. It's weird that people are like, yeah, I don't know. It's up against the retail gun. I guess everybody's up against it now. Good question. At this moment, there's no retail distribution arrangements for the game whatsoever. Yeah. We do hope to bring the game to retail channels in the future, but our entire focus on GameFest. So back it now, or else it won't exist, and you might not get a second print run, because most Kickstarter and GameFound and BackerKit and Indiegogo games throughout history do not get a second print run. And I would say that is the overwhelming majority. I would love... Oh man, I wonder if Board Game Geek has that exact information of how many Kickstarter crowdfunding projects see a second edition of the game or a reprint, because I imagine it is very low. If I have added the UK Games Expo pickup to my pledge, why am I also being charged $4 for shipping? There is no charge for the UK pickup. If you're based in the UK, the VAT rate is 20, which equals to 4. Okay, cool. Hope that clears things up, and I'll update the FAQ. You know what? Why don't you also update the pledge area too? Like... Even more important than the FAQ. Don't make me go to the FAQ. Just make it not an FAQ by answering it, spotlighting it, showcasing it, saying, hey, here's a little asterisk next to it for the X, Y, and Z. We still got to get the extra $4, but you're still awesome. I love the art style of your game so much for the reason I quickly created a profile to support it. Okay. Good luck, my friends. Any chance of some YouTube content? Yeah, that's the big thing. All those quotes kind of blind you to the fact, yeah, that's really creative. All those quotes kind of just made me forget that, oh, there was no preview. Oh, there was no gameplay. Oh, there was no how to play. It's just quotes of people where they, oh, they're clickable. Clickable, clickable. Got it. Instagram, not going to give me the video I want. Man, that's not great. Not that it's on Instagram. I'm not dogging the Instagram part. I'm just saying the fact that it's all clickable. Like you couldn't have just put some of these videos up here, or clips of these videos. Yeah, these are all Instagram posts. Yep, cool. Yeah, that makes that $60 even harder. I don't know how many cards you have. I don't have. I guess I could look at the rule booklet. Yeah, let's check the rule booklet. So that's good. I actually guess I do want to see the components. So it's 47 cards. Yeah, I that makes me be like, yeah, I wonder if they just intentionally didn't put the cards because, you know. And then that also makes me wonder, well, what do you do with the extra cards here? Because people don't, like, I can't imagine that their manufacturer is printing on a sheet of 47. How it works is, when you're a manufacturer, you have a sheet and you print cards out on the sheet, right? You just, and then you cut them up. And I remember when I was working at Hero Time, it was 65 per sheet for the large ones. It was like 72 for the small cards. But I'm going to guess every single sheet, for the most part, that most manufacturers are going to use are at a bare minimum going to have 54, you know, because it's card sizes. So the fact that they have 47 makes me wonder, okay, where's these extra cards? Where's my player references? Where's my alternative this, that, the other thing? It just has me asking questions of like, did you leave cards on the cutting room floor? Because you said you have these 2 extra cards, but that also only brings you to 49. But as a manufacturer, I'm like, where are these extra cards? Because I kind of want them, and like, instead we get sticker packs and like, instead of giving me more game, you're giving me just stuff that, like, okay, cool sticker, like, I don't know, more crap that's going to go into a junk drawer, unless you're here for the artist, which it looks like a lot of people probably are, or the UK pickup. I wonder how. I wish it showed how many people did that. Good luck. Any chance of some YouTube content? I see you just back. So firstly, thank you for your support. Okay. The review copies are so hot off the press that some of them are still stuck in customs on their way to the first reviewer, so I'm sure we'll get some video content soon. Our Instagram has a bunch of preview and review content, including a super adorable unboxing, and we'll share anything new when it lands. How to Play is also on the horizon, and that was 2 days ago. Yeah, that's not great. Like, that's just lazy. Like, that's a full point grade bump down from me. That's inexcusable. Just period. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's a 47 card game that you could play 2 players. You could literally play versus yourself. I do videos doing it all the time. You could just set up like, here's how this works. Like, you could do one of those, like, I hate them personally, even though I do them, and I'm not dogging anybody. They're easy, where it's like you teach the game as you play the game kind of thing. Like, you could do that. And the fact that you didn't, that's just, it feels bad. Like, you could do it in one take for what this game is, 20 minutes. Like, yeah, you might screw up, might have to do 2 or 3 takes if you don't want to edit. But then at the same time, what's that, like an hour 20 minutes? You pop that up on YouTube. You don't have to have a fancy thumbnail like, hey, we did this for the back. Like, it'd be nice, but just that feels like something you should have known that you should have, and that you just decided not to have. And I can't wonder why. It's just, maybe it's because this feels rushed now. The fact that there's the UK Game Expo pickup makes me feel that it's rushed, and I'm wondering if there's promo cards on the side that we don't know about yet, because sometimes that's what manufacturers can do as well, is if you leave like a blank card on your sheet, then they can essentially have like something where it's like, all right, everything to the left of this is going to go in its own separate little sleeve. And I wonder if that's what they're doing. I wonder if they've got like a 14-16 card promo pack, or just that's how they're giving those extra 2. Because that's what I ended up doing when I did my Kickstarter oh so long ago. But yeah, like, if you want to get these gamers, I think you need to at least tease us what this extra stuff is. What's this extra suit? You know, what else aside from just the wizards are here? Especially if you want to get some of these US backers, which are going to be a hard sell no matter what, just because tariff, you know. There's no charge for the pickup. So things, any chance of some YouTube content. And that was, 2 days ago. So it's just, I don't know. Like, it's 20 minutes. It's a 20-minute game. Like, it doesn't take long to get that up. Very nice game. It would be fantastic to have the Italian translation. Any playthroughs available? Not just yet. Review copies have been circulating for a couple of weeks. These reviewers have only had it for a couple of weeks on this 20-minute game. Now, don't get me wrong. If this is a 90-minute game, if this is like all sorts of variable setup and lots of different components, or like, there's scenarios, or this, that, the other thing, I get that. But you have a 20-minute family game with a 12-page rule booklet. Whoever you're sending this out to is freaking dropping the ball hardcore, as are you for not just doing it yourself, or at least trying to do it yourself. And I'm going to throw shade. We're in 2025. Like, this, you need to, like, you should be able to make one of these, especially for a 20-minute game. Like, even if it's in your language, like, I'm a non-native speaker, then put one up in Spanish. I'll at least appreciate the effort that was there, right? And be like, okay, it's not my language. I can't be mad about that, but at least they did it. And now you just didn't. Hi, components have no written text or numbers to be played in any language, including rules or English. We hope to have the translations in the future. Spanish will probably be the first. We have multiple Spaniards on the team. FAQ updated. That's the kind of thing where I'd also reach out to people for help as well, like, because I'm sure there's people who'd be willing to help. Any similarities to Airland at Sea? Oh, Airland at Sea is fantastic. Great game from Arcane Wonders. You should check that one out. Muster, Raise the Banners, Air at Sea, and Hammer are all area control battlers. So yes, there are similarities. If you like one, you will probably like the others. In saying that, Muster has a fair few differences to both games. Notably, it has a fully illustrated tri-folding game board with 5 castle spaces. Okay, it's illustrated game board. Whereas 3 has 3 eponymous spaces which are on cards that are rotated. Like, he's not trying to say that you're copying. I think he's just like, hey, you're going to give me some of the same feels. It almost feels like they're trying to defend themselves. Or maybe it's just this is a really in-depth answer. Muster's cards, I guess I'd like to know what makes yours better. Aside from, like, component-wise. Like, oh yeah, it has 5. I don't know. Muster's cards have no written text. Or, honestly, it's probably just not fair to compare those games. Air, Land, and Sea is a fantastic game. Like, it's great. And it has more special stuff in the game, which makes the game great. And this one doesn't. It just has the wizards, and that's not a knock. It just is what it is. Reminds me of a Nitsi with Q. Okay, so final grade for this one. Let's just get two. Oh, updates. Let's check that one out. Get this one a grade. I think overall it's mixed bag. Launch guide, final pre-launch update, launch guide. So 428, 1 week until launch, and made in Europe. Okay. We're funded. We funded in less than half a day. Thanks for your support. It's going to happen. We reached this in 9 hours and 45 minutes. Here's another quote that you already saw on here that wasn't great the first time probably, and no one commented anything because you didn't really give me room to comment, and you just regurgitated stuff that I kind of already knew. Like, yeah, this doesn't feel like a great update. Oh, okay, so you're spotlighting new quotes because people are like, oh God, it's coming live today, 555, let me get your quote, or something like that. Yeah, and that's not me knocking. That's not me knocking, by the way. Most of these people that are making content are not making much money, and that includes me as well, so I know well. And this is not near the top of their priority list. Their kids or their teeth or anything are. Yeah, that Aeon's End. Okay, so final grade is very mixed. Do I want it? Yes, I do. It looks like something I'd like to play with my kids. Honestly, it looks like something that I'd probably play with my kids like twice. Like, that's kind of fun, and then it'd be like, you don't ever want to play it again over anything else, do you? Like, that's what I do with my kids. Like, after we get done with something, and they're like, yeah, we like that. I'm like, all right, but would you rather play it over this? They'd be like, probably not. What about this? Probably not. And I'll normally lace like 3, 4, 5 games in their lane, and that's when I decide if this one's going to get shoved in some nook and cranny on my shelves. This one, I mean, just from the amount of meat that looks like it's on the bone, it just doesn't look like a lot, and it looks like it needs an expansion, unless you don't have a lot of other family weight games just from the jump. And I wonder if that expansion is coming at the UK Games Expo, just because it doesn't take a lot, you know? Some mix up cards here or there. So hopefully that comes out in the future. But as for now, do I want it? If I like the art, yeah. If I'm not an art person, I take it or leave it. Especially considering how much is it? The price doesn't feel great. Period. Like, even if I'm going the absolute cheapest route, which would be what, 31 euros at the UK Games Expo, that doesn't feel good for what is essentially less than 50 cards, an oversized box. Because yeah, that board could be fold down. You could quad fold that board, and you could have this thing in a much smaller box, but you choose not to do that. You choose to make the bigger box for the more table presence, for the more artwork presence, for the this, that, the other thing. And I get it 100%. It's a business decision. But how much is it? It just doesn't feel good. Any way you spin it. There's no stretch goals because they're rushing this for the UK Games Expo. If you weren't here on time, you don't get the 2 promo cards. And then I really want the 2 promo cards because I assume those promo cards are actually not just alternative artwork, which is like, who cares? Well, your kids might. We made the deliberate decision the campaign won't feature stretch goals since we're manufacturing to hit our summer fulfillment line. We've already committed to this. This means every... So they didn't even mention those 2 cards. Because, yeah, now my brain, just as a gamer, is just like, I need those 2 cards. Especially, and I know that sounds crazy, but it's not. This hobby is full of completionists who have to have every promo card and every this, that, the other thing, or want to, which is why, and that's not a stretch. That's why those massive $300 to $400 pledge levels are so popular a lot of times, because people want everything. And so the fact I can't get those 2 cards, just like, that's annoying, right? It's just a little minor annoyance. On top of the price, and that's before we get to the VAT. It just doesn't feel good. And I know you're saying this is their first timers, like this is their first project. They're doing a smaller print run, but it's still it's a 50 card game for $30. Like it doesn't feel good. Like, this could be in a tuck box. This could easily be in a tuck box. You could make you could replace, like, you could get boards and tuck boxes. You could, like, it could. And it would have, like, it's just, they chose to go this route. So, and they chose, that was an active decision. So it factors into my, how much is it? Not feeling good. But if I'm going to the UK Games Expo, much better. And then, can you do it? I mean, yeah. You're charging $27 for 50 cards and a foldable board. So yeah, of course you can do it. like you're making some good margins on this game, unless your shipping is, you know what, let me rephrase that. Assuming you were manufacturing in China, which they're not, they're making some very good margins on this game. Which, so should I take away that assumption? Should I grade it on a curve because they're in Europe? And I don't think so, because I'm grading this not in a vacuum, but against every other Kickstarter that's out there. And you're competing against every other Kickstarter out there, and your price doesn't look great. And it looks like you tried to hide it by just not mentioning how many cards there were, which is just one of those weird things. Like, there's a couple of those. So how much is it? Doesn't feel great. Can you do it? Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm sure this is probably already being manufactured or whatnot, and they probably just got a bunch of sample copies, and those sample copies went straight from the manufacturer to the reviewers and previewers, right? I'm gonna guess that's probably where they are in the line. So yeah. Which also, you know what, that actually does explain why they don't have a video from themselves doing it. But talk to your manufacturer. Be like, yeah, one of these needs to be expedited because it's for me and it's for the Kickstarter. And if your manufacturer has a problem with that, then you need to be like that's when you need to talk to a different manufacturer. But that's me off my soapbox. Okay? Either way, final grade. I'm dancing around it. I don't think it's great. Do I want it? Yeah, kind of, but not really. Can you do it? Yeah, not worried about that. And then how much is it? It doesn't feel good. No gameplay, no preview. The quotes all pretty much just said the same thing over and over again. And you did apparently have an unboxing video. I would have at least somehow made that so it was just clickable on this, right? I've seen other people do that with Instagram and Reels and stuff like that, where they could put them on here. I would have figured out how to do that because, oh, here's an unboxing video right here. Or at least spotlighted that a bit more, because I couldn't even tell you which one of these quotes was the one that was an unboxing. I feel like that would have been hey, check out what the sample components look like. These are from the manufacturer, the quality. So when they talk about the quality, they're feeling the actual stuff the manufacturer. Those are little things that could have been done that just weren't done. It just feels like, rookie decisions. Not to say that in a negative way, but the first time you're running a Kickstarter. So at the end of the day, final grade is a C. Yeah. C minus. Yeah, C minus. I gave it a little bit on the curve because they're first timers, and also because they're in the children's game lane. You're in a lane where there's not a ton of competition on crowdfunding. And that video, man, I forgot. The video did a great job showcasing the artwork and making one of the game, but that feels like so long ago. Yeah, I'm going to go with a C minus. Because, yeah, come on. Gameplay. You got to have a gameplay, especially for a 20-minute game. Let me know in the comments below what's your final grade for Muster Raise the Banners. Also, if you want to see a specific crowdfunding campaign covered, be sure to drop that in the comments below. Past or present, if you want me to check out a previous dumpster fire, I love checking those out. But have yourself a good night and have a good one. Bye-bye. I guess it's not night. You have it whatever time you're having. Hopefully it's good.